Have you ever walked across your own backyard barefoot, looked down, and seen a small hole in the ground with something yellow and black buzzing in and out? You probably did what most people do. You called it a ground bee, told yourself ground bees are harmless, and kept walking. Maybe you even felt good about that, a little knowledgeable. The thing is, that hole and that insect are not proof. You have a bee. They are proof something is living underground. And the species behind that entrance determines whether this afternoon stays ordinary or ends at an emergency room. Most people have never actually made that distinction. Not really. Ground bee isn't a species. It's a label people attach to anything yellow and black that disappears into the lawn. And that label carries an assumption that has caused some of the worst stinging encounters in North American backyards, parks, and gardens. Because the same soil, the same hole, the same buzzing shape in the air can be one of two entirely different animals. One is a solitary, largely harmless native bee that will ignore you unless you grab it. The other is a colony of social wasps with thousands of members, a chemical alarm system, and no limit on how many times each individual can sting you. Knowing which one you're looking at isn't a hobby. It's the thing that determines how dangerous your next step is. True ground-nesting bees, mining bees, digger bees, sweat bees, polyester bees are solitary animals. Each female digs her own burrow, provisions it, lays her eggs, and gets on with her life. She has no colony to defend. She has no nestmates to recruit. If you walk past her entrance, she does not care. The hole she leaves behind is roughly a quarter-inch across, about the width of a pencil. Her body is fuzzy, wide, sluggish in flight, and often more amber or tan than bright yellow. She will sting only if you physically grab or press her. That's it. Yellow jackets are something else entirely. They are wasps, not bees, family Vespidae, not Apidae. That distinction is not just taxonomic. It is physical, behavioral, and medical. The yellow jacket's body is smooth, not fuzzy. No hair means no pollen collection, because this animal is not a pollinator by design. It is a predator and a scavenger. Its body is slender with a visible pinched waist where the abdomen meets the thorax. That waist is not decorative. It allows the abdomen to rotate during a sting, which means the stinger can drive in from multiple angles. And that stinger, unlike the honeybee's barbed stinger, is smooth. It does not tear out of the body. The yellow jacket walks away from the sting. Then it stings again and again. There is no biological cost to the animal for stinging you repeatedly. The nest entrance in the ground is your first real diagnostic tool. A yellow jacket hole is typically larger than an inch across. The traffic through it is constant and two-directional, workers leaving, workers returning, at speed. You'll often see loose soil nearby and notice the insects moving with urgency, not the slow drift of a bee exploring a flower. If you see that pattern, you are not looking at a solitary ground bee. You are looking at the entrance to a colony. And a colony is not a handful of insects. By late summer, a typical yellow jacket colony can hold several thousand workers. In warmer southern climates, certain species, particularly the southern yellow jacket, can maintain perennial colonies that don't die off in winter, reaching populations that some researchers have documented in the tens of thousands. That is the animal behind the hole in your lawn in August. And August is exactly when these colonies are at their largest, their most defensive, and their most aggressive, because late summer is when the food situation inside the nest changes. Here's how that happens. Through spring and early summer, the colony is focused on protein. Workers hunt caterpillars, flies, and other soft-bodied insects to feed the larvae. The larvae repay the workers with a sugar secretion the adults consume. It is a functional internal economy. But in late summer, the queen begins reducing egg production. Fewer larvae means less sugar. At the same moment, the colony has hit peak population. Thousands of hungry adults suddenly need to find sugar elsewhere. That's when they start showing up at your barbecue, hovering over your soda, following the smell of anything sweet. And it's when their threshold for aggression drops significantly. They are under nutritional pressure. Their colony is beginning its decline, and their defensive instincts are running at maximum. The danger is real, and it is specific. According to the CDC's National Center for Health Statistics, An average of 72 people in the United States died each year from hornet, wasp, and bee stings between 2011 and 2021. Most of those deaths were not from massive swarm attacks on healthy adults. Most resulted from anaphylaxis, a severe allergic reaction triggered by a single sting, in a person who often did not know they were sensitized. You do not need to have reacted badly to a sting before. The sensitization can develop over time, silently. The first sign that you have a serious venom allergy is sometimes the sting that triggers the reaction, and yellow jacket venom is chemically distinct from honeybee venom, which means a person who has never reacted to a honeybee sting carries no guaranteed immunity to yellow jacket venom at all. What makes yellow jacket encounters so dangerous is the pheromone mechanism. When a yellow jacket stings, it releases an alarm signal that chemically marks the target and recruits nearby nestmates. Every worker in range now has a chemical destination. The pheromone can persist on skin and clothing for hours. Running helps you escape the nest, but it does not neutralize the marker. If you've been tagged by multiple stings near the nest, you carry that signal with you. This is why the lawnmower is one of the most common triggers for serious yellow jacket attacks. A mower running over an unmarked nest entrance in August grass doesn't give a warning. The ground vibration is enough. The entrance is suddenly in play, the colony launches, and the operator is receiving stings before the situation is even registered. The same happens to a person who steps directly onto the nest entrance while gardening barefoot, someone who pokes a stick into the hole to investigate, or a dog who begins digging near the entrance and then runs back to its owner, transferring the alarm pheromone to anyone who touches the animal. Crushing a single yellow jacket that has entered your house, especially near a window or door, releases alarm pheromone too. That signal can attract more foragers toward the same location. Using a short-range spray indoors, panicking, swatting, none of these are neutral responses. They all create new problems. Now, here's the part most people miss entirely. Yellow jackets are not purposeless threats that exist only to cause pain. Through spring and early summer, that colony is harvesting real quantities of pest insects, caterpillars, flies, and soft-bodied garden pests that damage plants. The ecological argument for leaving an undisturbed nest alone is genuine. But that argument has a hard geographic limit. A nest in a remote corner of a large property, away from foot traffic, children, pets, and equipment, that's a situation where monitoring until the colony dies off in winter may be reasonable in a northern climate. A nest 12 feet from a door, beneath a section of lawn that gets mowed every 10 days, near where children play barefoot, that calculus is entirely different. The benefit does not scale with proximity. The risk does. If this channel is how you learn what actually lives around your home and what not to do when you find it, subscribe. Because here are 3 things most people believe about yellow jackets that will make any encounter significantly worse. First, people call yellow jackets aggressive bees. They are not bees. They are wasps. The venom chemistry is different. A person with a true honeybee allergy and a person with a yellow jacket allergy may have no overlap in their immune response. They are separate conditions. Treating them as the same thing could lead someone to incorrectly assess their own risk before walking into a situation. Second, don't bother them and they won't bother you. This is true in open spaces away from the nest. It is not reliably true near the nest entrance. Yellow jackets respond to vibration and proximity, not intent. The lawnmower gets attacked. Your feet get stung. The dog gets stung. None of them meant to provoke anyone. The colony doesn't evaluate motive. Third, and this one matters most, if you find a ground nest, do not pour boiling water down the hole. Do not pour gasoline down the hole. Both are suggestions that appear across the internet, and both are dangerous in ways that go beyond the obvious. Introducing anything into the nest entrance triggers an immediate defensive response from inside the colony. You are standing directly over the entrance when that response launches. The correct approach is to mark the location clearly so no one mows or walks near it. Keep children and pets away from that section of the yard and contact a licensed pest control professional. Treatment is most effective at night. When foragers have returned to the nest and the colony is clustered, professionals use labeled insecticidal dust applied at the entrance. not liquids poured in from above. If the nest is somewhere low risk and you are not in a warm climate with perennial colonies, you can also wait. The colony dies off in winter. They do not reuse the nest. If you are stung, move away from the nest area without swatting. Swatting crushes the insect, releases more alarm pheromone, and communicates threat to nearby workers. Get distance. Change clothes if you can. For a normal reaction, a cold pack and an antihistamine are appropriate. For anything beyond local swelling, throat tightening, widespread hives, difficulty breathing, dizziness, rapid heartbeat, call 911 immediately. Those are the signs of anaphylaxis. Epinephrine buys time. It does not replace emergency care. If you have a known venom allergy, talk to an allergist about carrying an epinephrine autoinjector and about venom immunotherapy, which can significantly reduce the risk of a severe reaction from future stings. So go back to that lawn. The barefoot walk. The small hole in the ground 12 inches from where your foot landed. Something yellow and black lifting out of it and moving past your ankle. You didn't get stung. You kept walking. Maybe you were fine. Maybe you walked past a quarter-inch hole with a single fuzzy mining bee who had no interest in you. Or maybe the entrance was wider than your thumb. The insects moving through it fast and smooth and bright, and you happened to pass far enough from the threshold that the colony didn't register you. You don't have to be afraid of every hole in the ground, but you should know which hole you're looking at before you decide it's safe to ignore. The answer is visible. The body, the entrance size, the traffic, it's all there if you stop and look before you act. Have you ever accidentally disturbed a ground nest, mowing, gardening, or just walking across the yard and only realized what was happening after the first sting? Tell me in the comments exactly how close you were, because I want to know how many people have been one step away from something like this without ever knowing what was actually living beneath their feet.